This is actually one of my favorite Randy stories. It's a little one. Randy gave his last lecture in the fall. Okay, he was at the beginning of his journey. He had had some surgery, but he had lots of medical treatment still to go through. And then he went off and spent a good deal of time with his family. Spent a good deal of time going through some very aggressive chemotherapy. He signed up for any experimental protocol he could find because he had 3 very young children and he wanted as much time with them as possible. And of course, as this went on, he got sicker and sicker, and sicker and sicker and sicker. And at some point in time, the family relocated to be closer to an extended family network for the young children in preparation for when Randy would no longer be around. And we continued to work together. I would be down to visit them. They would come back to visit me. And then about 2 springs ago, in this May, CMU was having their graduation service, and they asked if Randy Pausch would come back to be one of the commencement speakers. I think the main speaker that day was Al Gore. So Randy said he took second fiddle to Al Gore. What can you do? So, you know, Randy was pretty worn out at that point in time, pretty ill, but he and Jay came back into Pittsburgh. And it was a very powerful time for him because he knew this would be the last time he would walk on that campus. This would be the last time he would see his colleagues and his students. Okay. So this was his goodbye to a campus he loved, CMU, and they loved Pittsburgh. So this was a very special time for him. They came into my office the next day, because we were going to, as long as they were here, it saved me a trip, we were going to have a therapy session. And so I got to hear all about the commencement. Okay. And what Randy described to me is, you know, he was wearing the cap and gown, the regalia of academia, and he said he felt good about that because he had lost a lot of weight, and that way people couldn't see how much weight he had lost. He didn't want them to remember him as being sick. That wasn't the image that he wanted to give. He gave this speech. At the end of the speech, for any of you that saw it on TV, his wife Jay came up to give him a hug and a kiss, and he actually literally picked her up and carried her off stage. He wanted everyone to remember him as being strong. The male ego still comes out, I gotta tell you. Okay? As he was leaving, recessing, the ceremony, everyone stood up. Everyone stood up. The sun was shining, people cheered, and cried, and cheered, and cheered. Everyone stood up. It was an amazing moment. The next day in my office, Randy stood in the middle of my office, face gleaming, and described that moment. He said it was so filled with love and joy and positive energy. And Randy turned to me and said, "I am the luckiest man alive." And he meant it, and he died within 2 months. So Randy Pausch was a born optimist. He loved every second of life, and cancer didn't take